Hi, I'm Konrad Średziński. I'm a lead developer and director for Royale with Boombit. We are a mobile game developer and publisher based in Gdańsk, but we work with companies from all over the world when publishing games. I'm gonna talk about community-driven development, based on my three main projects in Boombit: Tiny Gladiators, Tiny Gladiators 2, and Royale. But first, what is community-driven development? It's a kind of development that is based on the feedback from players. Why not data-driven development? Why not taking into consideration only decisions basing on A/B tests? In the end, we are all gamers, and we are doing games to other gamers. So our feelings and feelings of other players might be much more powerful than only numbers. So let's start from the first game, which is Tiny Gladiators. Tiny Gladiators is a multiplayer 2D fighting game. It was my home project that I was working on. When the game was almost finished, I decided to show it to Boombit, and they saw potential in it and decided to publish it after some improvements. Most of the improvements was related to monetizations and graphics. Global launch of the game was in April 2017. We received a featuring from Google Play and App Store, and Tiny Gladiators was downloaded over 800,000 times in April alone on Android. So as the project was growing after release, and we've added a lot of new features. For a while, we were basing only on a player's feedback from Google and Apple Store reviews. But it wasn't enough. We had to create some way of communication with players to be able to decide what to do next and what they really want. We've managed Tiny Gladiators community on Facebook fan page, which right now has almost 130,000 likes. Back then, our posts had a range of 15,000 impressions, hundreds of comments and thousands of reactions. So that's a pretty good number for a mobile game. Our idea was that the players themselves knew best what they want to have in Tiny Gladiators. So we involved them in voting for different aspects of the game on different levels. For example, when we were introducing clans to the game, we have asked players what price they expect to create a new clan. We've been doing consents for custom items in the game, like naming artifacts or whole artifact design. What features they would like to be implemented first. And most involved and interesting part to us and the community, what will happen next with the story in-game. Tiny Gladiators was light on the story, and at some stage of the development we were able to push it in any direction. We wanted to do this in a new settings, so we asked players on Facebook to vote for the next world in Tiny Gladiators. We have prepared 4 possibilities of the next map in the game. Some of them were crazy, like Alien World or Candyland. We had our picks in heads, and mine was Pirates. So we thought that if we will use thumb up icon for the pick, it's gonna win. It was our plan. But on the other hand, our head of production said that the players will vote always for the craziest one. And indeed it happened. And we created Alien World and Candyland instead of Pirates or Pyramid. We had some troubles to put it into current plot of the game, but it was really fun. And players enjoyed it even more because they felt in their impact on the game. Okay, let's go to the next project. Tiny Gladiators 2. It was a sequel to Tiny Gladiators. This project was fully developed in Boombit, but it was based on Tiny Gladiators engine. Tiny 2 has much more social features than the first game. We have added global and country chats, direct communication with other players through mailbox or chats, friends system, and so on. Tiny 2 was released in November 2018, and at the beginning we wanted to create the same community like in Tiny Gladiators. But its fan page was not as popular as the first game. This created problems, as we couldn't use the same strategies on Facebook, and we started running communities community events on the Tiny Gladiators 1 fan page because of this. Even after switching to strong Tiny Gladiators 1 fan page, it wasn't enough to drive the community there because reach of the posts was decreased a lot at this time. So we had to think over again and find a better way of communication with players. And we found one. And we switched to Discord. And this was a super good decision. The community is less anonymous, so we are talking to the players who are playing our game. We can talk to most hardcore players, the players who are buyers, to see what can be changed in the game. Discord is a stable and constant communication channel, not per post like in Facebook. We've been running some competitions there, like designing talismans, but this time other players were able to feedback it as well, or vote for the best idea. When we introduced clans to the game, Discord was a great place to recruit new members or start looking for an active clan. But there was also some negative impact of Discord. The community is very engaged, so you have to watch out who you promote and talk to. Players are talking directly to developers, so they can be very pushy to introduce things that are not that good for the game. About promoting to moderators, if you select the wrong person, this can make the community toxic. Mods can be quick to judge and argue with people because they have more power than standard users. This is why it's super important to select right people as moderators, someone with empathy and who likes to talk to other people. This we learned with Tiny Gladiators 2, and it was a good moment to do it better in next project. And that's how Hunt Royale was born. Hunt Royale is a very different game than Tiny Gladiators series. It's a PvE and PvP Battle Royale-like game and was launched in March 2021. I'm a big fan of Diablo and MOBA games, so I wanted to create that experience on mobile devices, with a game fully packed with action. We've decided to create fan page on Facebook and Discord to this game, but I'm gonna talk about Discord because it's not as straightforward as Facebook. Discord channel started from the get-go of the game. Now it has 20,000 active users. The most important thing is that we talked with the community since the beginning, even on soft launch of the game, and it helped a lot to create the final shape of the game. And we used the experience we had in Tiny Gladiators 2. This resulted in finding Gamo. He's our community manager from Sao Paulo, Brazil. He was very engaged and was supporting us all the time. When I started talking to him, I discovered that he was doing all the help from his mobile phone while working in the city, which was crazy. Before that, he helped with Discord communities, for example, for Destiny. Gamo started organizing our Discord channel better. For example, in a welcome channel that shows the most important informations, the rules of the channel, and it was only beginning. His work with community was so valuable to us, so we decided to hire him full-time at Boombit. Properly driven community can help in every aspect of development. Our current community in Hunt Royale is something really big and complex. And how exactly it can help in development and managing the game? First thing, support. There is a lot of possibilities to handle support to the game, through mails, by special dedicated services to it, but community might be also a perfect place for it if it's properly prepared. We have added a special channel for such cases, where players can easily open a ticket, write down what problem they have. It's transparent to other users, and it opens special channel for this ticket only with this player and moderator that will gonna handle it. What about bugs in-game? There is no game without bugs, we all know that, so we need to handle it properly as well. We've added channels for bugs and issues, and known issues, which helps us make game better. It's much easier to find a reproduction to a bug with the community. Of course, I'm not talking about standard QA through community, but there's a lot of small things that is almost not possible to be handled before game goes to bigger audience, or is related to specific countries or situations, or internet providers, like we had in this case. What about feedback and suggestions to the game? Nobody wants to be overflooded with them, so it needs to be organized properly as well. We've added possibility to make suggestions to the game in a very organized way. So players are making their suggestions on special channel, and then those suggestions appears to all other users. After that, other community members are able to upvote or downvote it, and it makes it much easier for us to decide what to do now and what can be done later, or even skipped. There is no possibility to all the stuff, and some of the feedback might be also harmful to the game. So such system is clear to players and very helpful to us. We currently have more than 1,000 suggestions and it's growing every day. What about translations to the game? There are services that make translations to every language, sure. But do they know the perfect context of the sentences in every single place in the game where it appears? If it's correct or not? Proofreading and going through all game aspects takes ages while translating the game, and here also community might be very helpful. In our case, we have created a special channel for translation corrections. Players are sending their suggestions there and even can chat about it, what fits best. Is there any better translation than from engaged user that is playing in his native language? I bet there isn't. Another topic. Security. Most of the games have their fights with cheaters. Of course, there's a lot of possibilities to increase the security of the game, but even then there might appear something unpredictable, and the community is also helpful in it. We created a channel to report suspected players so we can check their profiles more deeply on the server and decide if there is something wrong with their accounts, or are they allegedly playing and simply spend a lot of money in the game. It's a feature that helps us and helps players to feel more secure. What about critical moments in the game? If something wrong is happening, servers down, game is too laggy recently, something unique that you didn't expect, and there is always something unexpected. Community is the first place that will warn you almost immediately about it, so you can address the problem as fast as possible to not receive so big damage. Another problem of the games is the balance. In Royale, we have a lot of heroes and their special abilities. We are constantly adding new heroes, approximately 1 hero per month. With the community, we can fix balance problems very quick. If the new hunter is overpowered, or other hunters after a few months are not as good as the new ones, we can change it immediately. As the game is getting bigger and more complex, players need some guides which hunters are better on some game modes and which of them are better on others. This is why we have created such guides as well in community. We have tiers list of hunters, categorized also by game mode, and hunters' abilities priorities. So, the players are effectively turning the Discord channel into kind of unofficial wiki for the game. If your game has some social features or possibilities to play together, community is also a great place to find a partner to play in cooperation mode. In our case, players are writing down their user IDs with the information which hunters they are playing and on what levels they own them. Are you always sure about your next steps in the game? I'm not always sure. So we like to present pools at the start of every new game implementation as it's a good way of gathering feedback and being aware of the players' desires when it comes to the game development. We had a lot of changes in the game past based purely on community choices, going from how much time a match should last to big changes to a game mode or which new features they would like to see coming next. Some of the main changes we have made based on pools are game modes, time and experience mechanics, handling of social features, clan-related topics, balance changes for newly implemented features. To keep things fresh for players, we introduced events to our community where they can compete, show everyone their skills, and win in-game prizes for the effort they put on their event tries. Among all of different events we had, two stood out as being the community favorite events. They are highest co-op wave with a friend and quickest time to reach 20th wave with a friend. So they have the challenge of finding the best and fastest way to progress. They get to do it with a friend, and after that they will get rewarded for the efforts. Couldn't be better. That's why we have more than 700 participants every week. Apart from the in-game events, we also have fan art contests and game-related meme or trivia contests to reward members for their creativity. Here are some fan arts from our players. Most of them showing the characters from the game. Some players are even creating fan art comics, videos, like this one, on seasonal hunter release. There is also a lot of bots available in Discord, so you can enhance the experience of members. Few examples. Translation bot. If some players do not talk English very well, they can easily translate any sentences to their native language. Leveling bot that increases experience when user sends any message, and then players can reach ranks with it, which makes players engaged to chat. We want to keep our players in community as long as possible, so even if they are not playing the game currently, we let them chat with others or get engaged with other activities on our channel. That is why we have added also special mini-game bots to Discord, where players through comments can play the games. A few examples of those games: Poker Venture, Virtual Fisher, Epic RPG, Rumble Royale. Okay, to sum all up, here are a few short tips for running communities in mobile games. People will surprise you and will pick the most crazy options, but don't be afraid to do it. Find someone who you can trust on Discord, who is not toxic and cares about the game, and even consider hiring him, instead of only using them as moderators. Give your players some freedom on Discord and they will turn the channel into an awesome wiki. And don't be afraid of talking to people. All in all, they will support you and your game. Thank you.